What structure is best for a user story? Right. So the good old fashioned, you see it in so many places, as a I want, so that, as a user, I want to do this thing so that I achieve this benefit. That is often the construct we see for a user story. It's a good construct, there's nothing wrong, it's a decent pattern. It was created 20-ish years ago to help a team rebuild their habit about user stories. They recognised that when they were writing them, they were missing one of those three things. Who wants it? What do they want? And why do they want it? They used it for a period of time and then moved back on, having rebuilt the habit. Nothing wrong with it as a structure, but it's not the user story format. And in fact, I don't believe there is a structure for user stories. What we need to do is remember where they came from. They were created, early XP creators, Ward Cunningham came up with the idea, recognizing that people deliver information best, we learn best, and we do it more naturally through stories. We tell stories every day. Okay? Think growing up, all the stories you were told to teach you about the world, how to behave. You tell stories when you reconnect with people that re-establish relationships. They are throughout our lives. And that's what Ward Cunningham wanted to harness, was the fact we're naturally storytellers. Okay? And he thought, well, what about the stories users would tell about their product, about their problems? That's what we want to capture. Okay? And a story doesn't have, apart from very loosely, a defined structure. You can go many, many different ways and create a compelling story. And we want to do the same thing. It's not about writing it down in a certain structure. It's about conveying the information that everybody needs. So we want something that is imprecise. We want something that's loose, because that will invite questions. That will get people to think, oh, well, what if? That will open up conversations. And really that was the purpose of user stories, was to invite conversations between people with a problem and those that could solve it, between customers and developers. Okay? And what we've got to remember is that it is not a complete requirement. It is not a single format. What you have to do is be really clear that the person who wrote it understands what they meant by it. They're then going to take it to the developers, and together they're going to explore it and refine it. And if we need to update the words in that refinement, go for it. It's part of the learning. It's part of the shared understanding. And when I'm training product owners, it's one of the things I'll often tell them. Is if you're still writing a user story a couple of minutes after you started, stop. And this time, when you start again, just write what you think. If it's good enough for you to walk into refinement with your developers and you can recall what's important and what's not, what you're trying to achieve and why you're trying to achieve it, it's good enough. Because in that conversation, you're going to have a half a dozen bright people working with you to understand it better, to formulate something that makes sense to all of them. And then collectively, you will understand what's written down better because you've created it together. I'm not a fan of defining one structure for user stories or for anything. I'm a fan of saying put just enough down now so that when it comes up, you know what you're talking about and you can communicate that effectively with other people, and then together collaborate on creating something that you all understand and can take forwards. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.